Hello everyone, welcome once again to Investing with the Difference. We are back with a lot of updates on EOS, and I hope that you are not getting disappointed with all the price move. So let's get started. I think there's a lot of action happening while I think the market is still in bear market. We are seeing a lot of price drop. I had mentioned when we last reviewed EOS price that we were in a very stable environment when it in terms of EOSBTC, that is EOS versus Bitcoin, and we had a breakdown below this support levels here when we had all the FUD around Dan Larimer leaving EOS, even though it was a FUD because Dan has very clearly clarified that he's not leaving, he's just brainstorming an idea on the privacy coin, which he had just thought about it and he started discussing. There was a Telegram channel which was used to spread rumors around that whole history of Dan moving from projects, and he has also come again and again clarified why he moved from a certain project where he did not have the autonomy to operate, and Block 1 is giving him all the autonomy he needs, and he also owns a certain portion of Block 1. It's a corporate driven effort. EOS.io is the software produced by a big corporate entity now, and they have raised a lot of money. They're working in a very structural way as compared to the typical crypto projects, so we need to understand that part, and that's why I think you do not have to worry about it. The good thing is technically we have, even though we started crashing, we are holding on to this key support level. If you see from all the previous lows in EOS versus BTC terms, in dollar terms, I think it's also an impact of Bitcoin itself crashing below $4,000. We are still seeing actually even the Bitcoin is kind of stabilizing, and you're seeing a lot of buying volume. So last time I was highlighting that there's a lot of buying volume coming in. If you see the level of volumes here versus what we saw previously in a few months, it's gone up by a big amount. So this shows that even though the price is under pressure, we are kind of around $4,000 mark after touching a low of I think up to $3,500. We are actually seeing considerable amount of volume pickup, which is kind of encouraging, but of course nobody's saying this is the bottom because we are in a very deep bear market right now, and let's see where the bottom is. But I think what we should also understand is maybe we are closer to the bottom than we were earlier, and this is not a time to panic unless of course you do not have the liquidity and you do need to make a move. Now let's move to the next big thing which happened is I don't know if you have been looking at Blocktivity. We have been always showing Blocktivity as the key parameter to tracking the transactions. Now what happened here is EOS is now showing almost 10 times of any other blockchain, so nothing different has happened. It's more about that EOS, every transaction contains many actions. So if you're playing the games, if you're aware of how EOS is operating, in a single transaction you're sending, you can have multiple known coin transfer based transactions. So earlier mostly the blockchains were sending a coin, and that's how they were tracking the transactions, and that's what was counted. But EOS is a free blockchain where you are actually sending a lot of actions, and that's what now the Blocktivity is tracking. So I will post the link to the explanation. So this came out 4 days back, and Blocktivity developer, he posted on Steemit what is the meaning of operation versus transaction and why number of operations matter. So do read it if you're interested, but what the bottom line is that EOS is actually doing much more operations than any other chain, even the VAX which came out and which was overshadowing EOS on the transaction basis. So now if you see, this is saying OP, that is operations, and these are the number of operations. And the interesting thing is when you look at the number of operations, Bitcoin and Ethereum which are the first generation blockchain, they are actually overshadowed by many other blockchains, even something like Kin, Tron. Of course the BitShares and Steemit have been always on the top. VAX had overtaken recently, and EOS is way ahead. So this is very interesting. I think I would highly recommend everybody to go read this article. I will post the link in the video about why this change happened and what it means for people who are tracking how powerful a certain blockchain is in terms of number of operations. What else is happening? I think if you're not tracking, so EOS Authority, when during the Oslo meetups of the block producers in mid-November, and I think a couple of weeks back, they started this initiative of green EOS, that is green blockchain. So what they're saying is, we all discussed about how low the CO2, the carbon emission of EOS is versus Bitcoin and Ethereum. But even though it's low, I think what they're trying to go ahead is they're trying to make EOS the carbon neutral. What that means is they're going to offset whatever small amount of the emissions, or the carbon emissions, which carbon footprint of EOS is. They have calculated it, and each block producer has started this initiative, and they are making sure that by 9th June 2019, in 1 year, every year, how much carbon emission EOS will be responsible for. And already out of that total 1 year worth of 562 tons of carbon emission, 399 tons is already being offset by a lot of initiatives, and they are actually most of the block producers are part of it. And this is something which is great initiative, and hopefully I'm sure by end of this year everything will be offset, and we will have EOS can claim that it is a carbon neutral blockchain, while, as you all know, Bitcoin and Ethereum, they are actually responsible for huge carbon emissions. So even though this effort is trying to offset this carbon emission, you need to also know that Ethereum or Bitcoin are at a scale which nobody can even imagine offsetting ever. And that is what I think will be a strong message which EOS is sending out, that how you can make a sustainable blockchain. And this is very good initiative, I would say, and everybody should talk about it, because this is going to be critical in modern world, when most of the technologies, we don't want them to consume a lot of energy, and especially being wasteful, the proof of work being so wasteful and dangerous for the earth. Now finally, what is happening? I think EOS grand finale. So while hackathons have been going on, we know that we talked a lot about San Francisco, because that's where I'm from, and we participated, and a lot of great time we had. But you also, if you're not aware, this hackathon was a series of hackathons which started in June in Hong Kong, then in Sydney, London, and they also had a virtual hackathon for Africa for completeness, as before they went on to this grand finale in Capetown, that is in South Africa. And there's some great stuff happening there. Again, they have some lot of great judges, and they are actually doing an incubation week where they are actually going to help these teams who are the winners of all these hackathons. They will make sure that they are learning a lot. They are going to help them build the products further, and I'm sure some great stuff will come out of it. Beyond that, we also need to see how most of the projects which are already launching, which are listed in EOS World, are doing. So as you can see, this EOS Go is now tracking all these coins, their market cap. So while we always look at coin market cap for rest of the world, I think EOS World is growing all the time, and we have hundreds of coins listed here. And they are growing in how they are operating their most of their projects. Many of them are actually seeing a lot of success, either in the token economics or in the way they are getting adoption. So there's a lot of progress happening. I know that it is a bear market. I know that there's a lot of concerns, but you need to look at how many great teams. If you look at each of these projects, if you go to their telegrams, if you look at their updates, many of these projects are doing a lot of great work. They are actually some amazing teams, amazing talent working on EOS. A lot of people are talking about moving tokens from Ethereum to EOS. So this is something which is very unique, and I'm not too worried about what's going on. One more thing which happened is Dan Larimer also came out with the whole CPU discussion which we were having, where there were a lot of times when CPU is kind of clogged and you are looking for additional CPU for each account. He's actually he has come out with a plan of how they are going to change the EOS software so that the apps can pay for their CPU instead of the users for short term, and making sure that no user faces this issue. I think this is a huge deal, because I think when we are seeing is, even though we are seeing these gambling apps or all these kind of apps which are loading the CPU, they are a good test for the network right now, while a lot of other serious apps are building. And as I have said before, that gambling industry itself is very big for disrupting by EOS, so I'm not too worried about that part, that a lot of gambling apps are coming. But what I'm seeing is that we are seeing some real issues being solved, with so much activity happening on blockchain, with the kind of number of operations which are going through, and CPU is limited. Already Block 1 is working on solutions. Also, Dan has mentioned many times on Telegram channel, they are working on a lot of other scalability solutions, not just side chains, but also the parallel operations, multi-threading, and inter-blockchain communication for side chains, so that you do not have to worry about additional tokens, and EOS can run over multiple chains. So those kind of things I think are really going to continue progressing, and that is what is important. And while we are looking at the progress of EOS, the kind of work which is happening, and we are, of course, I think from the token price perspective, as we have been talking about, you need to always look at your strategies, what you're doing, whether you're holding it, your dollar cost averaging, your entry point, so that you are able to take the benefits when the price starts improving. Again, that is your personal choice. Just like we have been also talking about some of the dividend paying tokens in EOS World, we had some great success with MEV token. I like the project, and we have actually made a lot of good dividends in last couple of weeks. But I think some people do not want to go this path, so I appreciate it, and I completely I'm in alignment with somebody who's saying that, okay, I do not support gambling. So it's not something which I would highlight, that I'm not recommending that. It is more of a opportunity to invest and grow your EOS tokens. So if you can grow your kitty either by investing more dollars into it, or either by earning dividends, make sure that you understand the risks. Make sure you create a plan in case it doesn't work out, in case we see more drops, or in case we see any of these projects fail. Make sure you make a responsible plans. Don't go all out and risk your money, and that is something which I think you have to work out based on your risk appetite. So again, thanks a lot for joining. I hope you enjoyed the updates, and I think I'm very excited about what is happening in EOS World. We are seeing a lot more action happening now. One more thing which I heard is that there's going to be more and more web summits happening. While we covered the web summit which happened last Friday, there is another one happening for the governance. So governance is a big thing. It's coming on December 11th and 12th. This is hosted by EOS Ignite right here in San Francisco, and I'm trying to see if I can participate in that, but mostly it is about learning what is going on in the constitution side, referendum world, how we can participate, how we can improve, and what the meaning of various issues out there in EOS World. So do participate in that, and look out for more details on that. I will definitely post it on our Telegram channel, or on we will also talk about it later. In addition, I'm seeing a lot more effort being put as we talked about our own incubators. I'm going to start incubator in San Francisco area, like Silicon Valley actually, and then in San Francisco there's another incubator starting again by EOS San Francisco, new block producer which is launching there, and they have also started a hackathon coming weekend. So a lot more activities happening, a lot of excitement is happening. I don't see any lack of interest, enthusiasm right now in EOS community, and that is amazing. Looking at most of the crypto world is in really bad shape. I see more and more excitement in EOS world, where people are actually investing more rather than stopping to invest. So that is something which we should focus on. It's a great exciting world, and it's not going anywhere. Whatever be the token price, whether it's $2 or $1, I think the EOS community is continuously marching forward, creating real world use cases. So thank you. Do subscribe to the channel if you have not already subscribed, and do like the video if you like the content we are producing, and we will keep coming back, and we'll keep you updated. And personally, I think we are spending a lot of time here growing EOS community, and we believe in the technology. I think price is all about speculation, and that's something which you need to manage your risks, but participating in the technology is more important. So thank you. Bye bye.